So, how do you know if you have a chord with someone? Maybe it's they keep showing up in your reality, or you can't stop thinking about this person. So, what is it, and is there something deeper to this? Well, in today's episode, I'm going to share with you the different layers of these chords and how deep the connection may actually go. Are you ready for it? 1, 2, 3, let's go! Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Tammy Doe, and we have a very interesting topic here today. I know I've got a lot of interest in what the different chords are and who we're connected to in a past life. Soulmates, twin flames, soul families. Do they really exist? Well, if you're new to the channel, welcome. I typically talk a lot about Moldavite, and the last couple of years working intensely with Moldavite, it's led me down this journey of unfolding my different past life. So what you start realizing as you're going through your awakening, right, your healing journey, you're going to start tapping into the spirit world, the energy world. And when you can come from a space of being open-minded that, hey, maybe these things actually exist, then they'll come forth to really guide you through this journey, which I call it the hero's journey. Okay? So if you're tuning in on podcast and you want a visual map of how this looks like, check out the YouTube channel, The Light Goddesses. Otherwise, let's get into some visual learning, shall we? So let's go over this soul's journey. So before we even dive into, soulmates, twin flames, let's go over what a soul's journey is. Like, what does it actually entail? What is the phases? What are the stages? And how does it even affect us? Okay? Because I remember when I first started my awakening, my healing journey, past life wasn't even on my radar. It wasn't until that I did all the healing within this lifetime. I did a bunch of inner child work, cord cutting. I even signed up for a $13,000 program with a teacher who was like teaching us how to clear energies in this lifetime. But I spent so much time in it, clearing all these energies, that I feel like there's something there. There's something deeper to this. I did all my healing in this lifetime with my parents, inner child, but it feels like there's something else. And this is when past life actually showed up in my reality. So here is the soul's journey, which I like to call the hero's journey. So if you take a look, we have our present self right now. And as we're going this healing journey, we are going back in time to heal all these different cords that we've created throughout our lifetime, our essence, our soul's journey through all these different incarnations. So my first phase was working with the old version of me, right? Old Tammy, career. I stepped away from it, healing the inner child, healing what I've inherited from my parents. And then I did all of that over and over again. There's something else there that I could not figure out. And this is when I start tapping into past life. So let's start here with the soul's journey. So on the y-axis, we got the higher self and the lower self, right? Depending on what we're vibrating, our different energy, our different frequency. So the more you cut these cords, the more you're gonna ascend to a higher frequency. You hear all these new age, new earth people talking about ascension. When I first started, I was like, what the frig is ascension? What does that even mean? So here's what it means. Ascending. You're cutting all these cords, you're raising your vibration, because we're an average of everything we accumulated over our lifetime and past lives. And then the more we clear, the more we disconnect, we start ascending to this higher self version of us, okay? and we start tapping into, start channeling, we start getting our superpowers, you can say, psychic abilities. So that's, the more you do the inner work, the more you cut the cords, you'll start tapping into your higher self. But to tap into your higher self, you'll need to get into alignment. Okay? The more you cut these cords, the more you're going to shift into more of your soul path. And so if you look on the the x-axis, here you got this linear version of you, of going through the progression as you are here in the present now. So we got younger self, then we digress back into inner child, go back to birth, right? When we're born, we actually take on our parents' energy. Our lineage or ancestors is embedded in our blood. So not only are we healing for us in this lifetime, we're also healing our bloodline. And then when you start, so this is where the first year I was doing all this work, and I was like, I feel like I've done all the healing in this lifetime. I think there's something more. And this is when past life came through. I had another near-death experience. And so if you tap into Dolores Cannon's work, she's a past life regressionist, and she talks a lot about, taking people back to past lives. And in order to tap into past life, you have to regress back to a moment of death. Right? So I would say the moment of death and birth, that is the point where we stop, we don't remember anything. This is where a new lifetime is created. But when you start getting into alignment, you start tapping in, cutting all these cords, the path is going to show itself. It's going to unfold. Because I didn't really tap into past life until I did a bunch of healing in this lifetime. That makes sense? As we go back to death, we go back to past life, right? So this is another phase of my healing journey. And this is when I start realizing that, the different people that start showing up in my life in this next phase, almost all of them were connected in a past life. There's some people where, if you try to, let's say a past relationship, you break up, but it's like this soul keeps this energy that keeps showing up through different partners, right? Why do I date the same people? Why are they all the same? Well, that's because there's that essence, that part of you that you haven't learned the lesson yet. And so there may be a karmic contract in place, a soul contract, or something that you need to learn and heal for that soul to be released. Because once you go through this healing journey, you're picking up lost fragments of yourself. Even going back to the inner child, where something traumatic happened, and let's say something traumatic happened and the trajectory of your life was shifted, right? Typically when that happens, you enter a different timeline. So it maybe you have this reoccurring dialogue that it's unsafe for me to be around men, or that money is the root of all evil, or I can't trust people. So those are typically embedded and rooted within our childhood. I would call those imprints. Okay, so if you look here, if you go back to the inner child, look at what's embedded in us as we're trying to grow and develop as a person. So if growing up, if your parents tell you that, hey, don't trust people, growing up, what are you going to tend to do? Is not fully trust people. Or if you were abused when you're a child, then that's going to add to this, oh, I'm not safe, or I'm afraid of men, or I'm afraid to go outside, right? Especially for women. There's so much going on in the collective of women losing our rights. It's really important that we really heal our womb, heal this divine feminine within us, so we break free of this old reality. But usually these imprints are what are the anchor points, or the milestones that put our life into a different timeline. And when we start going back into our journey of the inner child, when we start healing these different moments in time, we're picking up a fragment of ourself. Okay, so let's say you were physically or sexually abused when you were a child, or if you had an abortion or miscarriage at a younger age, that's going to shift your timeline down to a lower timeline of, having these different ways of viewing the world. Okay, so in those that either physically abuse you, or those miscarriages or birth complication, there's still a cord lingering that is not fully healed, not fully completed. So when we become aware of these different cords, we cut them, then that energy will start to dissipate in our reality. It won't trigger us as much. It won't show up through other people. It's naturally going to dissipate in our reality. Okay? But just know that what's ever happening in your reality, there's something here that's vibrating at the energy that's pulling it in. It's pulling it in for it to come to the surface, for us to acknowledge, heal, or cut the cords. All right, so we got the younger self to heal, we got the inner child, we got going back to our lineage, healing our parents' energy. Let's say, a lot of times parents, they put all this effort, all these hopes and dreams into the child. We tend to inherit that, and there's a lot of guilt involved. I know, especially with the Asian family, there's a lot of sacrifice that is put into our schooling, and if we don't become a doctor, lawyer, someone successful, then that's a lot of shame and guilt that's already embedded in us. And it's not just us, it goes through the lineage, our culture, our bloodline. So until we can acknowledge that, become aware of it, and break the pattern, it's going to continue passing on into our children. Okay, so we are already picking up our parents' energy. If you're going through a lot of shame, a lot of guilt of not being successful, then that is something to acknowledge and bring into light, and what's needed to heal those energies. Okay, and so as we go back to the past life part, this is more of an advanced part of your journey, but you'll know when you get there when a lot of past life starts showing up, or you try cutting cords, or try breaking up with different people, but something keeps showing up, right? The similar essence, the similar energy keeps showing up through different people. Then that is a sign that, hey, there's possibly a vow or a contract in place, or maybe a curse in the bloodline. So that is something I personally experienced or brought into awareness within my bloodline, and I was able to work through and heal and clear that. Okay, so it's a deeper journey. Sometimes you need a teacher, a master, to help you walk it through. So it's very important that you don't rush this journey. Okay, what you realize is the more you heal, the more cords you cut, a different set of people will come through. And if you're not ready for past life, then it just won't show up. It won't even show up in your reality. It won't even show up in your thoughts. You won't even have the resonance or the pull to even try to learn it. But I say, if you're here watching this video, chances are you're probably at that level, that stage where, okay, I did all this work in this lifetime. What's next for me? What do I need to clear? What do I need to disconnect and heal to advance to this next part of my journey? How do I ascend to this higher version of me? But so every time you cut these cords, you heal, it's going to put you in a different timeline. It's going to get you back into alignment of who you originally are, what we're set, like what our path is. Because everyone coming here, we have a soul contract, our purpose, what we're meant to do here in this lifetime. And, all these traumas, all this imprints, inheritance, changes the trajectory of our path. So it's a journey. It's I call it the hero's journey. But once you start healing, cutting these cords, getting your power back, this is when you become a superhero. Honestly, psychic abilities, tuning in, channeling. I never thought I would experience those kind of things because I was very into the corporate world, financial advisor, like very 3D. Don't believe so much into like physics, or not physics, psychics, tarot cards, any of that stuff, until I start tuning into my spirit guides, this energy work and crystal energy. Oh my goodness. So I hope I was able to simplify this for you. I hope this map was able to put into perspective of, wow, what's happening? What's happening with all our reality, right? Because there's so much shift and change and movement in our reality that we start questioning our sanity. If you're really here, then there's a lot of the collective that does not even make sense. When you start waking up, you realize that, oh my God, there's dark forces. It puts you down this angry phase, and then you're like, oh, okay, well, maybe there's something here for me to heal. You keep going down this path, right? So there's actually a path that's mapped out for you right here. So this is how I managed to piece it together. It's a journey. So no point in you rushing, because I noticed that every time there's a huge shift, it tends to be around different portal and alignment dates. So as I'm going this journey, I'm purging, I'm releasing. During these powerful gateways, there's a bunch of downloads and upgrades that are coming through. And so this was a huge gateway here from the star Sirius. This is where Moldavite is believed to originated. So I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, that's okay too. Look at this map, kind of study it. And if you already know that, wow, there's some contracts or some things within your field that you really need help and assistance cutting cords or breaking some vows, then I'm going to put my information in the description. And yeah, follow the energy. Your guides are going to always lead you to where you need to be, okay? And if you need some guidance for your spirit guides, I'm going to put a video on how to tune in with your higher self. Other than that, I will see everyone here for the next episode. Tammy Do, signing out.